Hello, hello, this is Tony with One Sweet Dream. 60s and 70s. Today is 7/7/2025. And it's Ringo Starr's 85th birthday, 8/5 at 12 o'clock noon, your local time. He wants everybody around the world to say peace and love. Take a pause for Ringo. This is what he writes in part. This is a little reminder that on my birthday, Monday, 7/7/2025, I ask that at noon, your local time, to give peace and love. That is my gift from you. Thank you. And this is my gift to you. Peace and love. Everybody. Peace and love. Love, Ringo. And so this is from his YouTube page, Ringo Starr. If you want to look at it, it's right here on YouTube. Ringo Starr, he has his own YouTube page there, his own YouTube channel rather. And here he is with I'd Like to Be Under the Sea. Ringo, he himself admits that he just loved the years of flower power and the summer of love and all that. He loved it. And he's basically what I would call an old hippie. And I think there's a country and western song called An Old Hippie. And so there he is with his peace and love. He did a few interviews before this day to let everybody know ahead of time. I would have to go out on a limb and say, if you missed it at 12 o'clock and you're just then, it's not too late to call up a fellow Beatle fan or anybody really and just say, I just want to tell you peace and love, brother. I absolutely love the 60s. And I just love this stuff because it brings me back to my childhood. Now, here are some pictures of when Ringo, with the rest of the lads from Liverpool, went to visit with the yogi. And they learned about meditation. And Ringo says that he still meditates. And along those lines, I feel that this is why he and Paul McCartney do so well. They both take good care of themselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. So this is a very big day for Ringo because he wants peace and love to prevail. He thinks that this is what God is all about. And I don't think he's far off there. Some quick facts here. Richard Starkey was born the 7th of July, 1940. He's 85 years old today in Dingle. That's a neighborhood in Liverpool. He is married to Barbara Bach. They got married in 1981. And his first wife, Maureen Starkey, was married to Ringo in 1965, and they were married for 10 years, from 65 to 75. And they had 3 children together, Maureen and Ringo, Zach Starkey, Lee Starkey, Lee being his daughter, and Jason Starkey. Ringo's parents were Elsie Starkey and Richard Henry Starkey. His grandchildren are Sonny Starkey, and those are Jason's kids, and Luna Lee Lightnin. Oh, wow, what a name. From Zach. Luna Lee Lightnin. Well, my dog's name is Luna, but I never thought of calling her Luna Lee Lightnin. Ringo's played drums with all kinds of people. I mean, everybody, maybe. And, of course, he was with the Beatles from 1962 until 1970. And what a ride those 8 years were. He also was part of the Plastic Ono Band with John Lennon and Yoko Ono. And of course, probably the longest band he's been with is his own band called Ringo Starr and his All-Star Band, a compilation of some of the world's brightest stars, probably getting up there in age now a little bit, and they're still touring. Ringo is still touring at 85 years old. I've had a theory for a long time now that rock and roll, if it doesn't kill you, it keeps you young. And that is certainly the case with Ringo Starr and some of the others in the All-Star Band. And of course, Paul McCartney. Whilst in the Beatles, his most famous songs would be Yellow Submarine, With a Little Help from My Friends. On the White Album, we had Don't Pass Me By. And also another big one of his is Octopus's Garden. Here he says, at the end of the day, I can end up just totally wacky because I've made mountains out of molehills. With meditation, I can keep them as molehills. I love that. It's so simple and so true. I'm a praying person. I might have to pray more often to keep those molehills down. Yes. And somebody's going to get me on this. I forgot to mention, before he was in the Beatles, he was with a band called Rory, Storm, and the Hurricanes. And the reason that I say that is because of that band, that's how the other lads came to know him. The two bands were friends. They were friendly with Ringo. They were all playing in Hamburg, Germany. In 1953, Ringo, who had been a sickly child, had contracted tuberculosis. He said that when he was 13 and in hospital for his tuberculosis, once every couple of weeks, a lady would come in and she would bring some musical instruments. And sometimes she'd bring like maracas and little tambourines and drums and so forth. And she taught them how to become like a little band to keep them from being so bored. So he would not be part of that unless he got to play a drum.
I wouldn't play in the band unless they gave me a drum.
So during some of his darkest moments, being in hospital with tuberculosis, came the realization that he loved the drums. And did he go on to become a drummer, eh? Ringo himself says he was gifted with perfect rhythm, the perfect sense of rhythm. These are some of the bands that were famous when I was growing up. The Mamas and the Papas, the Beach Boys, the Hollies, the Monkees, the Small Faces, the Animals, and Cat Stevens. These were all big when I was coming up. I remember the Summer of Love. My mother and I used to laugh at the hippies, to be very honest with you, because they looked so different. I grew up near Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois.
2,
Okay, it's 12 noon here in England. Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love to everybody out there. Yes, this was Ringo's message to the world, and he wants us to do that as a gift back to him. I wish that he would see this video. Okay, so when I was growing up, there was the hippie movement, and it was a countercultural movement that originated in the United States in the 1960s and spread internationally. It was characterized by its rejection of mainstream American values, including materialism, militarism, and social conformity. Hippies embraced peace, love, and personal freedom, often living in communal settings and experimenting with alternative lifestyles. They also explored with psychedelics and Eastern philosophies and artistic expression as ways to expand consciousness and challenge the status quo. And that they did. Ringo says that he still embraces that time. He still loves the message of peace and love from the days of the hippies. That makes him an old hippie. I was a teenager in the 1970s, in the latter part of the 1970s, and I do believe that some of that culture was still around and rubbed off a little bit on me. Here we have some people who celebrated his peace and love movement another year in Iraq. Peace and love. You know, there's little doubt that in years to come, people will always remember Ringo Starr as the man who continuously pressed the idea of peace and love. And he's not wrong. Changing gears, Ringo's always been a fan of country music. In fact, when he was young, he and his friend were hoping to somehow move to Texas. Recently, on the 10th of January 2025, Ringo released an album called Look Up, and it was his 21st studio album. It marks his first studio album in over 5 years since What's My Name, and it's considered a country music album featuring guest appearances from Billy Strings, Molly Tuttle, Lucius, and Larkin Poe, as well as writing and production contributions from T-Bone Burnett. The album peaked at number 1 on the UK country album charts, and it came in at 147 on the Billboard Top 200. Well, it's better than nothing. Rolling Stone's Bob Sheffield called the album "The sound of Ringo being himself, the least jaded rock star in the universe," which is exactly what we want from this wise old sage. And he rated it 3.5 out of 5. There are a great number of different music charts these days, and I'm looking at it, and the album did come in number 1 on the UK Americana album charts. Again, his most recent album is called Look Up by Ringo Starr, a country music inspired album. I have my own story of when I encountered Ringo myself. When I was 17 years old, I was told that Ringo was going to be at the top of the John Hancock building in Chicago for a press conference. I was still in high school, and I borrowed my mother's clothes. I dressed up as a reporter. It was a navy blue suit, and I put on navy blue tights and took my mother's Cadillac, and I went down to the Hancock building and went all the way up to the top floor, which is like 100 stories high. And sure enough, Ringo was giving his press conference. And I will tell you more about that after we take this break from my husband and myself. 2, 3, 4.
We all live in a yellow submarine, yellow submarine, yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine, yellow submarine, yellow submarine. In the town where I was born lived a man who sailed the sea, and he told us of his life in the land of submarines. So we sailed up to the sun till we found the sea of green, and we told him of our life in the land of
Everybody around the world sing.
We all live in a yellow submarine, yellow submarine, yellow submarine.
Go.
We all live in a yellow submarine, yellow submarine, yellow submarine. Peace and love, peace and love.
Peace and love. We love Ringo. We love Ringo.
We love Ringo.
Ringo. We know where he used to live, too.
Yeah.
We go spying around on his old houses.
We love Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes. My name is Tony, and that's my husband, Tony, and we do have fun together with all kinds of music. As I was telling you, when I went up to that press conference, it was just wrapping up. I actually got in. Nobody suspected a thing. Of course, that was a long time ago in 1978. Of course, the adrenaline was flowing, so I thought of something. In those days, it took about a half hour to get down from the 100th floor of the Hancock building. You actually had to change elevators at a certain point, change lifts. So I thought, well, it's going to take that long to get down. I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go down and look for whatever car he's going to jump in. And sure enough, when I came out of the front door of the Hancock building, there was a black limo. I assumed it was for him because there's about 15 people standing around the door of the building. But what I decided to do was I went around the back of the car and I went in the street and I got up to the back window on the left-hand side of the car. Ringo got in the car. He slid all the way to the left. I looked down into the car, and he gave me that big flopsy-mopsy Ringo, hey, with the waving, if you can see what I'm doing, waving at me, and I waved back to him. I therefore was literally inches away from him through the glass. I have more stories where that came from, so please subscribe to my channel. Subscribe and share with a Beatle friend. Dale me gusta, suscríbete y compare con un amigo. Gracias. Hasta luego. Thank you for being here today on this special day, and we'll see you next time. Here on One Sweet Dream. Pick up the bag, get in the limousine. Peace and love.